Hey everybody, I'm so glad that you're here today for another message in our Let's Talk About collection. My hope is that conversations like this one will give you the opportunity to talk about things that are really important in your life right now. And today we're going to be talking about one that's probably a little bit more serious, and it's a really important conversation to have. As we get started, I want you to know that here at Victory, you can talk about anything. This is a safe place to ask questions and have conversations about difficult or sometimes confusing things. Even if it's awkward or uncomfortable, we understand, and we're here because we really believe that you're mature enough to have these types of conversations with us. And today, we're going to be talking about the crucial importance of honoring those around us. Now, we live in a culture where honor is a weird word. We don't use it much because we don't really understand it or the need for it. And the opposite of honor is shame. And in our culture, we've pretty much eradicated shame. From a Christian perspective, that can be a good thing, right? Because we no longer bear the shame of our sin in a punishing kind of way because of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross. In other words, shame is no longer our identity. But feeling shame about wrong behaviors we have and understanding certain things as shameful is actually natural and designed to motivate us to change or steer away from those behaviors. In our culture, you're constantly affirmed to be yourself and live your best life. We say there is no wrong answer, so follow your truth. So, because of the way things are, it can be easy to misunderstand the importance of what it means to have a healthy view on honor and shame. It's a little muddy on what it means to honor those around you. To honor your parents in the way that you love and obey them and show them respect even if you disagree with them. To honor your friends despite the occasional drama. To honor the opposite sex in the way that you look at them, talk about them, and set up physical boundaries with them. Right, one of the best ways to live out the greatest commandment, to love God and others, is to treat people with honor. So one of the best tangible ways to understand this concept today is to talk about honor as it relates to the idea of consent. Now, to get us on the same page, we're defining consent this way. It's to give permission for something to happen, or to agree to something, or to allow something to take place. When you let your little sister borrow your sweater, you're giving her consent for her to wear it. When you let someone play on your brand new gaming system, you're giving them consent to use it. When someone asks you to take your picture and you agree, you're giving them your consent to snap the shot. Now, usually when we use the word consent, it's in a conversation that's more serious in its tone. It's usually about what someone does or doesn't want when it comes to things like relationships, dating, and physical touch, and that makes this kind of a big deal. It has the potential to change both the way we treat others and the way we let others treat us. Maybe you're thinking, this doesn't matter to you yet. Why? Because the adults in your life typically have the most control over what you can and can't do. So sometimes it can feel like there's not much that you get to choose to do for yourself. And when you look at it that way, it's easy to see why you might think consent isn't something that really matters to you right now. And that may be true in the big obvious parts of your life, but trust me, you have more options to say yes or no to someone or something than you might realize. And the idea of consent has way more to do with how you choose to honor those around you than it does with anything having to do with dating or relationships or anything like that, which is usually what we hear this word in the context of. You actually have opportunities to give your consent every day when it comes to all kinds of things. You have the power to say yes or no. And believe me, I know that's easier for some of us than it is for others, but take a few minutes and talk about this more with your group. I'll put some questions on the screen and you can just pause this video there and then hit play after a few minutes when you're ready to move on. No matter how challenging it may be for you to say no to something that you don't want, it's important for you to know that you have the power to choose for yourself, that you can speak for yourself, that it's okay to expect others to listen and respect your answer. Now, maybe talking about consent feels difficult for you. Maybe you've been in situations where you didn't know what to do, or someone hasn't respected your answer when you said no to them, right? Maybe you've been asked to do things that you didn't like or feel comfortable doing. Maybe you didn't want to do it and you weren't comfortable with it, but you felt pressured by someone to give in. Maybe in that moment, you didn't know what to do. You didn't know how to express how it made you feel or that you didn't want to do it. Or maybe you did speak up, but the other person just didn't listen. You didn't give your consent for them to put on a certain movie, or to talk to you, or touch you, or text you, or treat you in a certain way, but they did it anyway. In case no one has told you this before, that's not okay. I'm sorry that happened to you. I hope you'll find time to talk to somebody today, like a small group leader or a parent, if this is a serious issue that's happened in your life before and it's been ignored. I want you to find someone you can trust to talk to, an adult that you can trust to talk to when it comes to some of those more serious issues. Consent is really about the way that we honor each other. That means in the same way that you have a responsibility to give your consent, you also have a responsibility to respect the consent of others. It's about putting the needs of other people before yourself. Now that sounds kind of biblical, doesn't it? So what do we do with all this? When it comes to consent, how do we choose to respect ourselves and others? Well, when I'm not sure what to do or how to navigate a difficult or confusing conversation, I like to look to one person that I know I can trust to guide me towards what's best, and that is, of course, Jesus. When we look back at the events of Jesus' life recorded in the Gospels, which are the first 4 books in our New Testament, we never see him disrespecting, dishonoring, or disregarding other people. We don't see him choosing what's best for him over what's best for others. We don't see him doing anything other than leading with love and respect. His example is the ultimate example of what it looks like to love and respect others. So I think we can trust his words when he talks about it, right? In fact, let's take a look at something Jesus said that I think can help us start this conversation in the right place. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for his friends. Basically, Jesus was saying, you see the way I treat you, the way I care about you and honor you and respect you, the way that I put what's best for you over what's best for me, that's love. And that's what I want you to do for the people around you. No, Jesus isn't asking us to literally lay down our lives like he did for us, but he is asking us to pay attention to what's best for someone else. He's asking us to listen to and respect the words, needs, and consent of others first. The conversation on consent doesn't just stop here, though. Later in the New Testament, we read a letter that Paul wrote to the followers of Jesus in Rome. Now, Paul was a leader in the early Christian church, and because of that, he had a ton of influence in the lives of those who believed in Jesus back then. He wanted to use his influence to encourage and support them, and he wanted to share wisdom on how they could live out the message of Jesus, like in the words we just read. So let's look at something that he said in his letter to Rome that can help us understand what it looks like for us today. He said, "Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves." Paul said that one way we can show others that we care about them is by honoring them. Ultimately, honor is another way to say we treat others and ourselves with respect. When we honor someone else, we show them respect with words, actions, thoughts, and our behaviors. We listen and we respect their consent. When someone doesn't want to go out with you, you respect that and you stop asking. When someone doesn't want to see those pictures, you don't send them. When someone doesn't want you to talk to them that way, you don't just keep talking. Honoring someone else means not only respecting their consent, it also means not putting them in a situation that makes them feel uncomfortable or disrespected. It means choosing what's best for them, even if it's the opposite of what you want to do in the moment. That's what honor looks like when we actually do it. And we all deserve to be honored. So let's take a look back at the very first part of this verse. Paul said to be devoted to each other, which means be committed to treating each other in this way. When you're devoted, you're loyal to it every day. It becomes not just something we do, but a way that we live. In other words, it's not a task, it's relational. It's not something we do, it's someone we choose to be. And when it comes to consent, it means being committed to treating someone else with love, respect, and honor all the time. Talking about consent and asking for permission is a lifestyle. And just as much as we should honor others, we should expect to be treated with that same honor. It's not selfish to expect that of other people. It's the standard you can ask for. You can choose to honor yourself and others. When someone doesn't honor you or gets angry that you ask to be honored, that's a sign. It signals that you need to take a step back from that relationship maybe, or a person who doesn't want what's best for you, who can't respect what you ask, your boundaries. Now again, I know this is a conversation that may be complicated for some of you because you may have already had your consent ignored or disrespected. Or maybe you're recognizing for the first time the ways that you haven't honored someone else's consent. Either way, you can honor yourself by talking about it today with someone you trust. Let a trusted adult in your life, like a parent, aunt, uncle, coach, grandparent, small group leader, youth pastor, let somebody unpack some of that with you as you learn what it really means to honor those around you and to honor yourself. It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to speak up. It's never too late to love yourself and others the way that Jesus calls us to, which is with honor. So choose to honor yourself and others. Now go ahead and talk about these questions with your group. And again, when you're done, go ahead and just hit play on this video again. Okay, so how do we do this? How do we actually show each other the honor that we deserve? First, choose to honor others. Plain and simple. Remember that choosing to honor someone is a decision that we have to make. Choose to treat people with respect. So much of consent is about listening to the other person. Pay attention to their words, their actions, and even their body language. Decide that you're going to listen to and respect what they're saying or doing when it comes to consent. Then, expect to be honored by others. Decide how you want to be treated and honored now. Then you'll know how you want to be honored by others. And you'll know when that's not happening, when you're not being honored or respected. Finally, speak up with confidence. You're allowed to use your voice to express what's okay and not okay with you. So if you want someone to stop, you can say that. That's not rude. If you want to say no to something, you can say that. Even if you said yes in the past, even if you're not sure how the other person will feel, even if you're scared, you can speak up about what you want and what you know is best for you. Now, I get that this is easy to talk about, but in real life, speaking up for yourself can be really hard. That's why in a few minutes, we're going to walk through ways that we can do this with confidence. And finally, if someone doesn't respect your no, don't be ashamed to share what has happened with a trusted adult. What happened to you is not your fault, and you shouldn't have to go through it. You can honor yourself by telling someone who can help you through it. And if you've already told an adult and they didn't get you the help that you needed or wanted, tell another one that you trust. Take a minute and think about an adult in your life that may be that person for you, whether you've been disrespected or your consent has not been listened to in the past or not. You need to have somebody in mind that you can go to in the event that happens. Someone that you can go to and lean on and that you can trust, and they can help you through it. So as we go out today, choose to honor yourself and others. Doing this has the potential to make big changes for our lives and our relationships. It has the potential to change the way we treat others and the way we expect others to treat us. So thank you for diving into this conversation with me today and with your group. And as we end, let's just take the last few minutes we have with your group to complete a final little activity. There's a printout that's like a journal page that you can fill out. It'll help you kind of process this. And then when you're done with that, I want you all to talk about it as a group and close out your time with prayer. And then we'll be done for the week, and next week we'll be starting a brand new series as we're entering the Christmas season. So I can't wait to be back with you again next week and get to dive into all that. So I love you guys, and have a great week.